What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about Hologram. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really been holding it back, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. So it is currently down 5.97%. 351 is the low, 395 is the high. Rather low volume so far. So within the first 2.5 hours of the trading day, 2.04 million shares have been traded. 8.25 is the average. These are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000. So clearly shows that big money isn't really looking at Hologram as it once was. And for a momentum play, you definitely need that injection of capital for it to go up. And just to give you a quick overview of some of the current institutional owners. So based on this, it does show 11.3 thousand shares is being held by institutions. And all of this is from the latest 13 Fs coming down the pipeline. 4.13 million is held by strategic entities, and then 1.84 million is held by other, aka retail. So retail does own a good chunk of the float, and this is why it's been so popular and still does remain very popular despite the lack of news. So even today, in fact, this did come out. So top 10 most searched tickers on Bazinga Pro in March. So it goes over a lot of the big notable ones. So Tesla, you have Apple and many others, but surprisingly it didn't make the list, but it came very close. So number 12. So people are still searching for Hologram. And of course, I think it got very popular initially because of three different attributes. One of which is an AI play. Second is a squeeze aspect because it does have a low float, and as well, it is being very heavily shorted. So that's been a very good recipe for 2024 among a lot of retail. And then finally, the momentum play aspect. And just to give you a quick overview, in case you are curious on what this company does, this is it. So just read the company profile, so pause it, and it is based out of China. And again, that's been one aspect so far in 2024 that retail's loved. So low floaters, high short interest, and based out of China, or at least just a foreign country, so outside of the States. That's been literally everyone's dream so far in 2024, and many of those companies have actually squeezed. So I'll give you a quick overview of what the current short interest is. Right now, 45.96% of the free float is being shorted, so very high stuff. 436.62 thousand shares overall are being shorted. So like I said, that low float attribute. Cost to borrow average is 210.15%, and utilization is 61.36. So very high stuff overall, and given the fact that the market cap is, I think it was 14 or 19.5 million, and right now there's almost $2 million worth being shorted, that is relatively high. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people still really do want Hologram to kind of squeeze, but it does fall back down onto the company that they need to put something out. Even if they just put out like, hey, we had this for breakfast, I feel like a lot of people would be like, hey, look at that, this epic, they're talking, like that would be just huge in among itself. But again, dependent on them not diluting, because that was a very big red flag, at least to me, but what do I know, right? I'm not a financial advisor. Just to give you a quick overview of where it currently stands. So with today, right now with it at $3.61, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So the low for today, 351, it did bounce off this S1. So we know that this is a very strong support, at least. Whether it does hold or not, in reality, not likely, because there isn't that institutional backing anymore, right? So technically, like, the company needs to put something out. And I know I said this last video, and it's just very discouraging because this company did have a lot of good potential to continue its nice run up. You see a lot of other AI slash squeeze slash momentum plays that are still running up right now in the broader market. But Hologram just kind of fell by the wayside because they just stopped any and all PR. But then again, I guess to be fair, if you kind of look back at their previous news, they aren't really the most chatty of companies. 406 essentially is going to be that next strong resistance point. So you'll just want to, going forward, watch this S1 to hold. And then again, if that does fail, then it'll trade between these S2 and this S1 range. But obviously you can kind of tell within this, there is a pretty wide gap. So there's going to be a lot of volatility. So again, if you do not like volatility, probably this might not be the best play for you. But as I always say, I could be wrong. Looking on the actual chart though, it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. It has been actually trying to fight and regain to go back into the higher, but without that institutions really getting in, of course, I think it's just going to be continuing to fade down back to where it was prior to kind of these two run-ups. But again, looking at stochastic, you do see it at 16. So that is considered very oversold. So if there's a good piece of news specific to the company or the broader market, you could see a rush of institutions once again, just more of a value play. They won't actually stick around for the long term. They'll probably just swing trade it up because this company has proven itself multiple times over the last couple months that it can and is able to go up. So I think that's a good thing, at least behind the scenes, if that kind of makes sense. Looking at the momentum indicator shows number of retail investors have been somewhat maintaining themselves. So they're not really panic selling, they're just maintaining themselves. I don't know if that's because they have higher averages right now and they don't want to do anything with their stock. They're just very hopeful that maybe it'll hit the 7+ range or potentially back over here. I'm not really sure. I don't feel like this is logical. This definitely had a lot of squeeze aspect to this, but since then shorts have started to double down once again. So let me know your thoughts. What really drew you to Hologram? And for instance, if you're one of those many individuals that are constantly searching this company, is it because of that squeeze aspect, or was there some other fundamental part of this business that you did truly like? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. This is a brand new one. Simply sign up for a new account with Moomoo, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the Meg 7. So make sure you guys take advantage of this promo. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.